Hello, my fellow readers. This is Dark Symphony 777 with the first of 3 top 10 videos. So I just recently broke 100 subs. I'm good. And some of my subscribers have actually asked, hey, can you do a top 10? And since I've been doing videos since 2017, I thought, why not? It would be interesting to do. So the original idea was to do the videos at the end of the year and then do it every year afterward. And I would talk about the stories I did. But I built like a 3 years worth of stories before this year. So when I was trying to figure everything out, it's like, should I do like a test video, just testing everything out of like of ranking stories before this year from 2017 to 2019? And I was turning it over in my mind. I thought, why not? So this is where we are. So I have 3 categories. One of the categories is not going to exist after this list, and that's going to be the crossovers, which is what this video is going to cover. Now the reason I'm not going to do crossovers in future videos, mainly because I'm just going to be lumping them with the short stories and the long stories, because I'm only doing a crossover countdown for this specific video. This one specific video is because I did so many crossover stories that, they would kind of warrant their own list, more or less. Also, I'll probably be acting different later this year when I record the ones for this year. So there's that. There's only one criteria, and it's stories that I personally like, not just what I personally like, not so much it's good, just what I liked. Everyone's gonna have different opinions. So let's get started. I have no idea how I'm gonna do this, so gotta bear with me just probably just for this one. So let's start the top 10 crossovers that I read from 2017 to 2019. So number 10 is Space Dandy by Chrome Regos over on FanFiction.net. It is a Space Dandy My Little Pony story, and I actually remember this story because I had a lot of fun. Granted, a lot of my issues with the story was more because the recording was just so frustrating to do. I remember reading the story and I thought, it's entertaining. There's not really much to talk about it. I'm going to try and go over these as fast as I can. There's not really much to talk about. It's best of the worst. It's the worst of the best. It's a decent little story. It's just Space Dandy crashing onto Equestria, just going around, having his dick turned to stone somehow. Only in fanfiction is a dick and not the entire body getting turned to stone because reasons. I still find it funny, especially with Chrome adding the picture of just Dandy like in anguish, like that. It's just so, it was actually a pretty funny image because the picture just made that whole part just 10 times better. So there is that. Oh, spoiler alert, over half the list is My Little Pony crossovers. I did a lot of My Little Pony crossovers. I'm actually looking at this list because you're probably not going to see it on the camera, but I'm actually looking at the list right now, and about all but 2 are My Little Pony related. That's just... I read way too much My Little Pony. So yeah, that's Space Dandy. Space Dandy's number 10. Numbers 9 to 5 are all the same crossovers. It's My Little Pony and YuGiOh. And it's all written by the same author, Darth Valgav. I butchered that name again. So, yeah, it's all part of a series. I think he's still working on the last story in the series. But this is just to hold me over. So, number 9 is Dueling for Dessert. I think as a beginning story of the entire world, it's just nonsense. I did like the whole idea of just the sort of insane nonsense that you would justify a duel with, like I literally said in that video, the whole reason that story exists is because So Luna wanted specific dessert, and so Celestia said no, and then Luna goes, okay, then we'll duel for the dessert. And Celestia's like, what? How do I play this game? That's just basically the entire plot of Celestia learning the game and stuff like that. Granted, at the time of this recording, pendulums and links weren't really a thing, and now rush duels aren't really a thing, but that's more focused on tribute summoning. That's fine. Compared to all the other stories, it's just there just for the comedic value, so that's fine. Number 8, Sonata's Big Duel. I did like the setup for the story. Sonata Dusk using Gishki's ritual deck. I happen to be a big fan of ritual decks. Go Cyber Angels. Yay. Crud, I'm having actually remembering that new ritual, the new level 12 ritual, the Drytons. Oh, that thing's gonna be so abused in Cyber Dragons. Look, then again, probably like most of you are not gonna be paying attention because most of you probably don't know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh. Just when I say Yu-Gi-Oh's a fun game, so at least try it. Maybe I'll play like one of you guys sometime just to help you learn how to play. So anyway, so the setup to the story of Sonata being desperate to want to go back to Equestria because of everything that's going on. The duel is actually slightly better because it actually has more dynamic wording and the whole subplot of Sunset wanting to turn her balls into dual spirits. It's a nice touch. Number 7, Duel to Save Camp Everfree. First up, I like the little nod to Twilight Sparkle wanting to make Janek support. And then Sunset turning her down because lore reasons. Oh, the only thing that would have made that scene better is if Pinky literally showed Flamvell Magician. Because Rada. Meme Lord Rada. I'm sorry, that would have made that whole scene better. Just Pinky just slowly holding up Flamvell Magician for reasons. Just to reference Rank 10 Yu-Gi-Oh! That was pretty funny. The little rando plot with Android 16, that was just really weird. But it was inoffensive. The main whole gimmick was the tag duel with the corrupt businessman using trains and Principal Cinch using monarchs / wicked beasts. And the whole sequel hook of the walls finally, turning real life and saying, I accept you. And said, be ready to lead us. And I thought that was really cool. Overall, that's like a really good story. Number 6, Duel, Twilight versus Twilight. It's basically Pony Twilight who uses red eyes and armed dragons. I honestly pictured her more as a blue eyes person. But Red Eyes has the potential. I'm sorry, especially now like Dragoon or Red Eyes. I mean, that's freaking insane. I don't think Twilight's the type of person who would use Dark Magician in his deck. In her deck. When I call Twilight, man. Oh well, that's fine. And then on the other side we have the Equestria Girl Twilight who uses Gen X. Gen X is usually like, as a running joke, the worst archetype in the history of the game, and honestly, it kind of has a very valid claim for that, to the point where people said the best card in Gen X is an Ice Barrier monster, and Ice Barriers are just complete garbage too. Except for Trishula. Trishula's like, how long do you have to stay on the ban list, Trishula? Answer, yes. And stuff like that. The whole mystery, like, all the Gen X synchros, like, act like protecting Twilight with Gen X ally Axel, like, shielding her. I thought that was a really nice touch. The whole setup behind it, and all the backstory involving the Gen X and Twilight fall in love with it because of Mega Man, Airman, Gao Tensai. I can't beat Airman. Was really cute, and I thought that was really well done. Overall, it's a good story. Number 5, Dueling for a Chance. This is the last one. Why is this one the best one? First off, has the best setup with Suri Polymer, I think, dueling Sweetie Belle and just torturing her with her monsters, aka the Fluffles, the Edgems, and Frightfurs. Also, Rarity in that story uses Violons. I have a soft spot for Violons. Those are so freaking awesome. Especially the climax of the duel where Suri has like everything set up, and then Rarity summons Violon Omega, who is freaking gigantic. To put this in perspective, in the story, they're actually on a really big building at the roof, and when Rarity summons Violon Omega, it actually dwarfs the building. Only it's in the sky, and Omega's just about to just punch the shit out of it over Suri. It's like that's a big monster. It's like, yeah, that is a big monster. It's a freaking big monster. It's like, I don't think it's as big as the kite. No. What is the biggest? Wait, that actually makes me wonder. What is the biggest monster in Yu-Gi-Oh? Star Eater? I'll go with Star Eater as the biggest. I think. Star Eater is like pretty big because it circles the sun. So I'm guessing Star Eater, unless they make something bigger than, unless you call like Jorgamonder from Norse mythology, and that's probably like the second biggest. But I'm still thinking Star Eater's bigger. So anyway, and then Violon Omega just completely just punches right on top of the building. I thought that was a really cool image. Just especially if you actually read the story, and once Rarity summons Violon Omega, the author goes out of his way to just big up Omega as much as possible in only a paragraph or two. It was actually pretty amazing. And I still have a very, very soft spot for Violon Omega. He's probably one of my favorite synchro monsters. Probably my favorite synchro monster still is actually, what was the name of that one? What is the name of that one? I'm having a brain fart. I am completely having a goddamn brain fart over the monster. It was not a zombie. It was I'm honestly just having a brain fart. I have a brain fart to my favorite synchro, but probably Violon Omega is probably up there. I think it's probably my second favorite, but I'm actually going too far. Just hyping up Omega. Just read the story for Omega. Number 4. Fallout Equestria Pink Eyes. It is a My Little Pony Fallout crossover by My Bazinga. That story is actually amazing. I love the whole unique character with Puppy Smiles being a very purposely done one-dimensional character because of how she works in the story, with her being a sort of broken record / recording sort of thing. And her interactions with all the other characters, and her more or less just acting as a way for the other characters to grow while she's just static, kind of throwing very nice takes on characters. The world is nice. The plot is very simple. It's just her going on a little adventure to find her mom. It's nothing bad, but overall, it's just a nice, simple story. Nothing bad. Number 3, Fusion of Destinies, Harry Potter and Metroid. Yeah, this is one of the 2 non-pony ones. Wow. I never realized all of My Little Pony stories until I started recording this. That is just weird. But I don't know. But you win some, you lose some. So anyway, this is a Harry Potter and Metroid fusion. It takes place between the events of Goblet of Fire and Order of the Phoenix. First up, I really like the idea behind the crossover with Voldemort using a spell that has a built-in failsafe, and he wrenches the X-Parasites out from the future, but then the spell's failsafe kicks in and brings Samus along with them, because Samus is the only one who can fight the parasites. And Samus's interactions with Harry, the little references to, I think there was a reference to Harry Potter musical, cannot remember. The whole idea behind the whole lore behind the Chozo possibly, meeting with wizards and everything. The backstory behind the Chamber of Secrets and Harry and Samus's friendship kind of building up. It does kind of lose points simply for the second half being kind of more or less just a kind of sort of a retread of Metroid Fusion, which is why it's in number 3 and not number 2. But it's still a solid story for the first half. It's just the second half really kind of gets dragged down. Number 2, Turnabout Storm, My Little Pony and Phoenix Wright by Chrome Regos and Firesight. This story was freaking amazing. Turnabout Storm was a completely unexpected hit that I fell in love with. Granted, I love Operation Turnabout more than Turnabout Storm, the web series, but that's just saying that Operation Turnabout was just simply better than Turnabout Storm. The idea of expanding upon what Turnabout Storm did with Trixie and Delta Requiem and adding Miles and Maya and Pearls and everything and adding all these different elements, expanding upon what Turnabout Storm did. I thought it was a really good story. The trial actually carried more weight than it did in the web series because it didn't have the web series didn't really convey a sense of true suspense. Like, you'd think something would be that suspenseful, but the web series didn't really carry that. Operation Turnabout did, but it's just this one really didn't. But I liked it anyway. So it gets second place. But it didn't hold a candle to the ranked number 1, being Fusion of Destinies 2, Day of Reckoning by Great X, Harry Potter, Metroid, again. That story is phenomenal. I will get the elephant in the room out of the way. The main antagonist, Valkyrie, she's either a masterful deconstruction of a Sue character, or she's a villain Sue. There is literally no middle ground. She jumps back and forth between the whole, is she a Sue or is she not a Sue, so many times. Like, you can make an argument about her being both. You can make an argument about her being on either side. I just think she's more of a deconstruction because of how she's handled at the beginning and how that conveys through her character to the rest of the story. But, if someone says she's a villain Sue, you won't hear any complaining from me. It's just, that's because, again, you can make a compelling argument for her being a Sue character. But overall, it ramps up everything that was good about Fusion of Destinies 1, but fixes all the problems that it had with the linearity. It ramped up a lot of suspense. It gave us great characters. It gave us a phenomenal sequel hook. The only really bad part was the final fight was very, very lacking, especially since how much time the author built up Valkyrie as someone who was like strong enough that Voldemort was kind of afraid of her. And she was like very, very determined. I like the whole genocidal undertones, especially since she went full on like omnicidal maniac. I was willing to murder so many people just to beat Voldemort. I just really like a lot of the elements with her, and finally there's also like the world building, them going to these separate locations involving like Chozo and the 4 houses of Hogwarts interacting. It made everything so much murky and suspenseful. Like, you don't know what's gonna happen. And also, like, each area kind of has a certain vibe to, like, with Slytherin, it carried a lot of vibes from Torvis Bog, like the murky depths underwater sort of thing. With the Ravenclaw base, it reminded me a lot of Skytown from Metroid Prime 3. With Hufflepuff, what the hell is a Hufflepuff? It reminded me a lot of Torian, and of course Gryffindor reminded me a lot of Magmore Cavern from Metroid Prime 1. Overall, it was a very phenomenal story. There was nothing wrong with it. It beats all the other stories, and that is my top 10 favorite crossovers from 2017 to 2019. Next video will be the short stories. I look forward to see you then.